piss them all away. Little children in the street, dying every day. We all look for something we can never find, as we all need peace of mind. Lonely wretch on the street, looking for love. $20 beneath the sheets. Is this all she thinks of? We all look for something.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, Timmy.
Hey, Sean, back from Florida, huh?
Oh, man, I got to tell you something. It was the best trip. And remember I told you I can't stand the winter. Like I have this
Yeah.
like winter depression. And I have to laugh because I'm looking on Facebook all the time. I see my buddy Jimbo. He's up in, I don't know where the hell he is. Looks like he's in Alaska. He's somewhere. They're ice fishing. They
Right,
got,
with some kind of tent. Yeah,
they got like 6 freaking hats on and
yeah.
talking about how great of a time it is. And I'm like, you got to be nuts. All of you guys got to be nuts.
I agree. A buddy of mine, Jay Young, he's out skiing and everything else. God bless them for loving that kind of weather, but not me.
No, not me either. So I went down,
know?
I had 10 beautiful days. And, I was actually looking at some real estate and looking at some possibilities for next winter. It's something that I got to do it because I just can't stand the cold anymore.
Yeah.
But hey, anyway, Tim, I got to be honest with you. If people today have not come to the realization that the people who run our country all across the state, I'm not just talking about the presidents I'm talking about these morons who we elect to be governors and congresspeople and senators. And if they haven't realized that we are being run by some of the biggest morons in the history of this world, I don't even know what to say anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's local, state, and national.
Well,
It's
I was
everything.
it is everything, but did you just see the governor of Wisconsin?
Yeah, what he did, unbelievable.
This
What's
guy-
wrong with these people?
This guy is the moron on top of morons on top of morons. I
Right.
want to see if I can pull this thing up. You got to
Yeah.
watch this. We got to watch.
Yeah,
this.
this is insane, people. You're gonna love this.
Can you see
I
it?
haven't heard about it.
Can you hear it?
I can hear it, but I don't see the video.
Just listen. All I got is the audio. Here you go.
There it is. Yeah.
Republicans locally and across the country have been railing on Governor Tony Evers' desire to make some parts of state law gender neutral. Elon Musk calling it messed up, and Brett Favre saying it's nonsense.
In all my time in and around politics, this is probably the dumbest proposal that I've seen. I
agree.
think it's incredibly offensive to women, to mothers.
Republican State Senator Andre
Yeah.
Jacques is talking about Evers' proposed changes to a section of state law about artificial insemination. Husband, man, mother, and father would be replaced with terms like person, spouse, and inseminated person.
If I called my mother an inseminated person, she'd probably slap me.
Inseminated
What the
person.
Republicans say is a lie.
This guy's
So,
mother
of course,
must think he
couldn't
is like the
PO
greatest
about
thing
that.
since
After
sliced
attending
bread,
a
right?
roundtable,
What kind of son do you have? What's your hey inseminated person? How you doing? You coming over for Christmas
Yeah.
dinner?
Yeah, what do they do on Mother's Day? Call it Inseminated Persons Day?
Yeah, you inseminating the turkey. What are you doing? There is
Yeah.
nothing. There is nothing more
Mhm.
stupid than this man. And
Yeah.
how is this man elected? How do women, how do mothers, grandmothers, how do women vote for this clown?
Right.
This is a clown. It's a clown show.
Yeah,
I mean, we
where
have
did they come up with these ideas in the first place?
Well, how about look at there's real world problems.
Mhm.
Whether you're in Wisconsin or Cohoes, New York,
Yeah.
there's problems, right? We
Yeah.
have an economy, that's a problem. We have crime, that's a problem. Every day, government could just focus on the real problems that affect your life.
Right.
And you would say, I appreciate what they're doing, right?
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
just trying to make sure the streets are clean, the potholes are filled. They're trying to make sure that this is done so that we have a nice place to live. Instead, they're coming up with shit. Who sits home at night thinking, tomorrow I'm going to put out a bill that says your mother is no longer your mother. She's an inseminated person. Who comes up with that,
Right.
Tim? I just want to know because I can't for the life of me. I was in politics.
It has something to do with in virtual
I don't give a shit what it
whatever
has
you
to do
call
with.
it, right?
It's
But-
still a mother. She's still giving birth.
A mother giving birth, but now we don't call her a mother. We call her, well, she got inseminated somehow.
Why? Because they used a turkey baster because she couldn't get pregnant?
Right.
Or what's the problem here?
Yeah, right. So now,
I mean-
so she's not a mother. She's something other than that. It's insane, and it's another attack on women. You know,
It's another attack on women. And
Mhm.
we're seeing it still right
Yeah.
now as we're speaking because they just had Trump just had an executive order where he gave everybody who wanted the out the opportunity, right?
hmm
He said, I'm passing an executive order. Men will be men. They will not play sports against young girls or even
Mhm.
older women. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You are a woman. You can rest assured you will not be having a competition against a man. And
yeah,
we still see places like Maine, like New Jersey, basically saying to the president, screw you.
Yeah.
But he's not, is this a fight they want to die on? Is this the hill they want to die
it's
on?
insane. I'm sure, and I saw one state, might have been a city, I'm not sure, where you've got signs outside a restroom, right? They change the signs. You're gonna love biological male, biological female.
Well, isn't it sad that you have to do that? I would
Right.
never have believed if I just went back 10 years in my life, just 10 years, I can never believe that the fight of the future
Yeah,
is whether a guy with balls can
Right.
actually say he's a woman. Why doesn't he just say he's a turkey and you can put
Yeah.
him on the fucking table for Thanksgiving? I mean,
Right.
I don't get it. I mean,
Yeah.
what we got kids saying they're dogs, and this teacher's got to put a bottle on the floor so he can lick up the water.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on here?
No
I just
shit. It's-
went to listen. I will tell you, when I was in Florida,
Mm.
I went to a couple places and had a few beers. I promise you, these are not the places you would want to go and say, hey, my name is Joanna. When I got a pair
Yeah.
of balls, it was really John before. Okay?
Mhm.
It's just kind of insane.
Oh my God. Well, why do you got to be? Why is it they just can't break it down to two simple things? Okay, male, female. That's what
Well,
the sign.
what
But
do you
they
mean?
have to mess around now. Call it a biological male. So, John, you're a biological male now. So when you go to the bathroom, you got to look for the sign for biological male, biological female, something else.
I don't know why anybody see. Here's the problem with the woke world that we live in.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to figure out how to lasso the next group of people into their political party,
Yeah.
right? How do
They're
I
trying to make
get?
everything neutral.
Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out how to suck in every
Mhm.
party who's got some kind of crazy issue, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what you want. If I am the senator of New York and I know that I have all of the other nitwits who will just vote for me no matter what I do,
hmm
and there's a group of people out there that are banging their hand because they want to have balls, but they also want to be women at the same time, only so
Yeah.
they can punch your daughter in the face in a boxing match and say that
Mhm.
they were the best boxer in the women's category,
Yeah.
right? So he's trying to suck up to those people, so they'll say, "I'm with you. Thank you for supporting me." Now he's got another group of people who will vote for
Right.
him. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about. Because
That's-
they're
Yeah.
if anybody's
block.
watching,
A
yes,
voting
they're
block.
just trying to get another voting block.
Yeah.
Is there any man who really, really believes that this is an issue that we should be debating, how about we say to the very, very, very minority, sorry, you're always going to be a man, even if you think you're a monkey. It doesn't matter.
And what troubles me, Sean, is where is the parents of this boy who's a high school boy in Maine pole vaulting to beat up the young ladies, the girls?
Well,
Okay,
you know,
where are
there's
the parents?
they're probably nutcases. I
They're
don't know
probably
that for sure.
nutcases too. But
I'm
you know
not-
what?
Timmy,
Yeah, if the school can't fix the problem, you as a parent's going to say, knock off that.
first of all,
bullshit.
screw the school. Schools are nothing
Yeah.
but liberal. They
Right.
used to be places of respect, places
Yeah.
of higher education.
They think
Now,
they own your kids now.
they think they own their kids and they're involved in way too much shit. How about you
Yeah.
figure out how to teach them how to read, how to write, how to do
Yeah.
some math, because none of them can do that. What they've
Yeah.
learned in school is that they can get on their hands and knees, call themselves a fucking cat, and drink out of a bowl. And somebody's
we-
going to say, okay, you're fine. How about you say to the parents, you're nuts, your kid's nuts, and get your kid's got nuts.
Yeah.
Why don't you get
Right.
yourself some
And
help?
right, and because of all this shit, you're seeing more and more kids being homeschooled.
Well, listen, do you blame them?
No,
Do you blame them?
the only way you can escape it. What's
Listen,
going on?
I have a lot of love for teachers. I really do. I do.
Mhm.
And they're put in some real bad positions right now. They
Mhm.
really are. But you know what? If the mass group of them who don't believe in this bullshit got together and said, we're just going to not teach no more
Yeah.
if you don't fix the problem. This is like 1% of the people. This is like the squeaky wheel and the United States government now falls into
It's
their lap.
the tail wagging the dog.
It's
That's
just,
what you got here.
it's pathetic. And I don't know for the life of me how we as a society
Yeah.
have figured that this is, what we have to do to make things right. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. All I know is that if my son came home and told me that he was a cat and he needed to drink out of a fucking bowl in school, I'd put his head in the toilet and say, hey, there. Now, maybe I'm a bad father, but I'd say something like, my son's got some mental illness
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of scratching his nuts, he's trying to scratch it with his foot. Okay. And he can't get his leg that high because he ain't a dog. He ain't a cat.
Right.
Okay. So we have just as a society
Yeah.
lost our minds.
It's so bad, Sean. You can even say this. I'll go into any store, and if I spend say $1.75 and give them $2, they can't figure out what change to give
They
me in
can't
their
even.
own head.
They don't even know how to sign their name because they stopped teaching
Right.
cursive.
Right.
Let's be honest here with each
I
other.
said I need a quarterback. Right.
Everybody who's watching this show,
Yeah.
everybody who will be pissed off because I said I'd put my son's head in the goddamn toilet bowl if he came home and told me he was a cat.
That's bothering, so I don't care what they think.
It is the mass majority of people who don't buy into this shit, but somehow just sit silent.
Hmm.
Okay.
No, you wouldn't tolerate that as a dad. I know I wouldn't.
Well, I don't
I-
tolerate it right now.
No.
I'm going to tell you what I've been seeing, and I talked about this on Facebook today.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time. You and I spend hours and hours. Why people, I'm retired. We do the podcast. I'll spend 300 hours a week going through all this stuff, trying to at least say when I have an argument that I
Yeah.
have a little bit of knowledge, right? This is what I don't understand.
Mhm.
For the life of me, there are more men fighting for the rights of women and more
Mhm.
women siding with the guy who wants to be the cat.
Right. He is,
And I
yeah,
don't
I agree.
I don't understand. I did it. I just did a small little thing on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
I counted 600 people. 450 of them were men.
Hmm.
The other, the other group was women. And then I looked the opposite way. And men were 100%, and women were 75% sticking up for the transgender.
Hmm.
Now, can you imagine if on this day, the United States government said, we are taking away voting rights for women? Holy Christ!
Wow.
It would
Yeah.
be the end of the world.
Well,
a bunch of men who are egotistical pigs trying to steal
Yeah.
away the rights that we fought for our whole freaking lives. And how dare you? This is America. How do you do this? But yet
Right.
they don't give a
Right.
shit about stealing away, rights away from these
Right.
young
You got
athletes.
Supreme Court justice who says during her hearing she doesn't know what a woman is.
Yes, and
Can you imagine a Supreme Court justice?
her name's
That's how bad it
Brown,
is.
right? Isn't it Brown?
No, Jackson.
Oh,
Jackson
Jackson.
Brown or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
She
Jackson
says that
Brown.
she doesn't know what a woman is.
Well,
In-
that the fact that goes to show you that the Biden administration didn't know
Mhm.
what women were, and the
Mhm.
people that were running the country are a bunch of sickos. Hey, listen, inside of the greatest chambers in the world, guy was screwing another guy,
Mhm.
right? And they videotaped it. They got caught, and guess what happened to them? Nothing.
No.
Can you imagine the like being in the Senate? These chambers where some of the most famous people in our history
It's an honored institution.
just
Yeah.
to walk into that institution.
Right.
And now you got two guys screwing each other and get
Mm.
caught on video and nothing happens
Right.
because
Right.
it's okay. It's not okay. I'm so
It's
sick
not.
and tired of people flaunting their sexuality. You want to be gay? Fine. I have
Yeah.
friends that are gay. I have family that are gay. There's people I love that are gay. Be gay. You don't need a parade. You don't need to
Right.
put a thong on backwards.
Yeah, and,
Okay?
right. And look, I summarize it this way: if you want to pause, then join the circus.
Yeah. I mean,
Right, but
you don't need
look
to
at
put
what
a thong
happened
on
with the
backwards and march down the
right.
street and then say people don't like me.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
no
look at what
shit.
happened with the NSA with Tulsi Gabbard. They discovered that the intelligence agency has their own server. Okay, it's their own internal server, and it's being used as a chat room
Yeah,
for all of these people. Okay,
talking about gay
talking
and
about
sex
gay
and
and their sex and all the things they want to do. They want to get lasered in their butthole. These
let,
are people. This is what's going on.
let
Okay,
let's let,
and they
let
were cursing her on out. And the bottom line is, she turns around. She goes, "They'll all be fired by Friday."
let me be
It's
crystal
crazy.
clear. Let me be crystal clear.
Yeah.
This is not a rant about people who are gay.
No, it's not.
It is a rant about a country that has decided that we are going to allow all of these crazy things to happen
Rename
right?
everything
in the
because you want
name
to
of
be
getting votes
right.
at the expense of other people.
Yeah.
What can you imagine if we had the power to say, hey, you
Mhm.
have term limits?
Yeah.
They'd go nuts. They'd have a million reasons why you can't have term
Mhm.
limits. But
Yeah.
when we say men shouldn't have the ability to have um, uh, athlete against a woman, men
Yeah.
don't have a right to have a set of kunahunas there
Right.
and go in the girls' locker room.
Yeah.
We are the bad people. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be considered the bad guy. Here's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. If you want to be transgender, I support you. I passed the first bill in the history of Albany County protecting people who want to be transgender, right? You know that. It's all
Mhm.
over the newspaper. You can find it anywhere. I passed that after 30 years of them trying to get it done. I got it done because I believe they have a right to be who they want to be and express who they want to be and love who they want to love because it's a mystery. I don't know who I fall in love with. I don't even know why, right? It's a
Mhm.
mystery. But there's a line that you have to cross. And they've
Yeah.
crossed it. And it's only a very small select because if you go to many transgenders who just want to live their life, they're
Yeah.
not involved in this shit. If you go to gay people who are just really gay people, they don't want to be part of parades.
Yeah. They
Okay.
just want to live their life, and I'm fine with that.
Right. You
Okay.
don't find people who are normal wanting to be cats
Yeah.
and dogs. And it's
Yeah.
not normal.
Yeah.
These people need help. That's my rant. I think everybody who's watching this
Yeah.
show can agree with us. There's many good people who have, that want to be transgender, that are gay, that are straight, that are, that whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're good people, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that are
Yeah.
sick, and
Yeah.
we're catering to the sick people, and
Well,
we're hurting a lot of good people.
yeah, that's true. I agree. And I think that what threw eyes wide open when you get this Wisconsin governor has to go to the point that's called someone an inseminated person.
Well, I just
And that's
want to
what.
say to all the
Right.
women
Yeah.
who are watching our show, especially the mothers,
Yeah.
I am going to call you a mother. So please don't get mad if I don't consider you a inseminated girl from a turkey baster, okay? Because
Yeah.
that's really what is the guy that inseminates them? What is he called?
Yeah.
Woodpecker? I mean, you can't call him a dad. What is he?
No, they call him a
Woodpecker
father.
and the,
He's a father.
he's a father.
Okay.
You're an inseminated woman. It just
He's the
blows my-
inseminator. That's
the
what he is.
inseminator. It's almost like a movie, right?
Yeah.
I am the inseminator.
Right. You've been
And they come out with two
inseminated.
turkey basters because
Right.
if you're having, it's not sex
Right.
no more. What is it? It's
Right.
inseminator.
It's not sex, okay?
It
You
just
have
blow-
been inseminated like the Borg.
it just blows my
So
mind.
anyway, what's next?
Well, I was just talking to somebody about, there was a post from the governor, and she was talking about how she's going to be fighting to support workers in the state of New York. And it just made me think about something, right? So I don't actually know why the state correction officers are picketing, other than you realize they have the worst job in the world. Now, let's not confuse
Mhm.
the bad apples that we just seen that murdered that inmate. Okay.
Mhm.
Because they're going to prison
Yeah, they are.
and they deserve to go to
I
prison.
think there's 5 of them or something like
Well,
that.
there's-
One watching.
I
Yeah,
the people that were engaged in that are not good people.
no.
And I don't care if you
Beating up on the inmate in the chair.
if you take an oath
Mhm.
to protect your job is not just to watch them in jail, it's to protect them against getting killed and murdered. Jail's a bad place, prison's a bad place.
Yeah.
And so a handful of people cast a bad light on thousands of amazing people that are correction officers, right? And I don't know exactly why they're picketing. I'm going to assume, working conditions. You got people throwing shit on them. You got people pissing on them. You got some of the craziest people in the world, and they don't want to lock them up into a confined space because that's bad. Now prison should be like going to an Ivy League school, right? We got to give them the best food, the
They
best
get
care.
tablets.
They
They
can
get
have a sex
tablets in
change in
jails now.
hospital.
Right.
They can get a bypass, a heart
They can
transplant.
even
Shit
order
that
pizzas
people on the
in.
street can't even get.
Yeah, they do that.
Shit
They
that
order
people work
pizzas in now
right
for 'em.
now can't even get, right?
Yeah.
Timmy, you frozen?
No,
Yeah, you're frozen. Are you frozen or you just listening?
not on my
So
end.
I'm not sure why, but they're picketing. So you got the governor of the state of New York saying, well, hey, listen, I'm going to start taking care of the employees. But she's sending state police to these correction officers' houses and telling them if they don't get back to work, she's going to arrest them. Now, look, it is against the Taylor law, as far as I know, to be a public employee, firefighter, hospital worker, correction officer, to go on strike, right? Because what would happen if every correction officer went on strike? What would happen if we had nobody in the prisons watching the prisoners? The prisoners would become the head of the prison,
I'm
and it
hearing
would be just
they've
total
got some
chaos,
National
right?
Guard in there.
So I understand they're not supposed to strike, but she could have done something a little different than saying, if you don't get back to work, we're going to arrest you. We're going to take your pension. We're going to do this. Maybe she could understand if she walked through one of the prisons, what these guys go through every day.
Yeah.
I know, because when I was in the county legislature, I would do tours of just the jail, Albany County Jail, and say, no way, Jose, because I would kill somebody. Nobody's going to throw a pile of shit on me or piss on me. I mean, I would see when we went through these, tours as legislators, many of these people are mentally ill. They don't even belong in prison. They need to be locked up. And they need to be away from society, but they're not. They're sick. I mean, I would watch people; they're biting their arms off.
Right.
They got to cover their mouth up because they're chewing their own fingers off. It is absolutely crazy.
There's guys
what's
there.
going on? Timmy, you back? I don't know what happened to Timmy. Hey, Tim. I don't know what happened to him. Timmy.
Here I am.
Well,
Am I back?
maybe somebody went over and beat him up. It could have been one of the transgenders went over and kicked his ass because he didn't agree with them. But so, what do you think about that? Do you think they should go on strike? I don't know if it's really a strike as much as it is a picket, an informational picket. But my God, these guys are in a real shitty job. Um, you know, just a real shitty job. Hey, Pammy, I'm glad that you're able to use the podcast to go back and forth and talk to your friends. Thank you for saying hello to me. And Big Ted and Jackie. There's a whole bunch of people, I think, who agree with me and Timmy about, the whole transgender bullshit and the fact that even though Trump is, signed these orders to stop it, if you didn't see what happened with the one in Maine, uh, he calls her out right at the conference for the governors. He says, "Why are you not abiding by the federal law?" And she says, "I'm going to sue you." And he's like, "I can't wait to." I mean, it's a shit show. It's a shit show at every level. So I wanted to jump over to some local stuff because I think Cohoes is really taking a beating. If you look on Facebook, I don't know if there's ever been a time when Cohoes, a mayor, has been so disliked, and rightfully so because the guy is a moron. He squandered, most of the people's money. He's every department is in chaos. There's never been a winter. Look, we've always had potholes. That's just the nature. But you know what? I would be in my car and I would drive around every morning, take a list of the worst ones, and say, "Kenny, get out there and get them." We'd clean them out. We'd get the water. We'd blow torch them to dry up the water, and we'd put something in them to save your car from getting killed over the. Hey Timmy, you're back over the winter, right? This
Yeah.
guy, this guy does absolutely nothing. So people are killing him on Facebook. They're saying you're out there preaching that you got an $8 million surplus, but you can't fill a pothole.
Mm.
And I think the city is really in trouble because you have somebody who doesn't care about the city. You have somebody who had the balls to give himself a $20,000 raise, his daughter a $20,000 raise, his brother-in-law a $20,000 raise. You got a council that sits on their hands. I don't know what they do, Timmy. They're like a bunch of dodo birds. I mean, if you want to
am
talk
I
about
right?
being
Am I
let
back
down,
on with you?
yeah,
Yeah.
froze
So
up, but
anyway, so look at I did put a post on my page regarding the firehouse. Okay, and a few firefighters were talking to me about either a poll or a rumor or something there that they want to do something like not have the firehouse in Pleasant Street or in the Fifth Ward open. Um, so I don't know what that entails, but they were saying they were polling these guys, and you know more about it than I do. But the bottom line is what my feelings were this, Sean. These people keep running for office about they're going to keep that thing open all the time. And then it doesn't stay open 24/7, despite them running. Okay.
when Keeler ran against me, his whole
Yeah.
campaign was three things. Okay, he was going to open the firehouse 24 hours a day, 7 days
Yep.
a week. It would never close, which he lied about.
That's
He was going
true.
to fix the infrastructure because somehow under me the infrastructure was so bad, and yet it's the worst that it's been in the history of the city under him. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
And
drive the streets now. The potholes are awful.
well, it's not even just potholes. It's lack of understanding how to address
Yeah.
water breaks. It's a lack of understanding
Yeah.
how to when for example, before we paved a street, we would run this $100,000 sewer camera under there to make
Yeah.
sure the sewer wasn't leaking. Right? We would do everything we could to fix all of the valves that we had on list of broken valves. And we would do everything we can to make sure that once you paved the street, an hour later, you weren't digging it up because of water breaks. Now, it happens. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen because it did happen to me, right? But
Mhm.
I know they're doing nothing. Nothing. People call me every day. People that work in the city, people that voted against me, people that want me to run for
Yeah.
office, something I'd never do again. But these people recognize that this guy's a train wreck. He will go down in history as the worst mayor in the city's history. Not only
They
did,
just took that pump offline over in North Mohawk Street that's been running on diesel for 3 months. It's
well,
my
that's a
understanding
huge
that
expense, right?
right, probably
I'm not
$7,500,000.
I'm not going to blame him for having the pump go bad. I'm going to blame him for not having a program. Timmy, I
Hmm.
wish that I wish Billy Kane could jump on the podcast, because at first he got pissed off at me, because once I found out that we were running a pump when I became the mayor for months and months and months and months and months,
Hmm.
right? Nobody's fault, because you needed a pump to run.
Yeah,
But then nobody told me about it. So it run for months. Well, once I found that out, we went and bought an $80,000 new pump. We got rid of the backup pump. Okay. We
yeah,
bought a couple backup pumps so that we weren't renting them. Okay. And then I had Billy Kane on a weekly basis go to every pump station and have a log, make sure that it was clean, make sure that there was nothing trapped in the pumps, clean
yeah,
out the station, make sure that we had records of every single thing, so that if I called them up and said, "What happened at a pump station yesterday?" he'd pull out his book and say, "Well, there was some rags caught in there, but we cleaned them out. There was this. There was this." Guy wouldn't know where a pump station is. Steve Hennessy, he's an epic failure. I
yeah,
hate to say it. I've known Steve my whole life. I wouldn't get along with him right now. I'd punch his face in, because he's rude to the workers. He treats them like shit. He knows nothing about anything other than digging holes. I got to be honest with you. When I was the mayor, I was going to have a deputy, and I was going to ask him to be the deputy of DPW. I'm so glad I didn't, because he's a train wreck.
yeah. What's another thing that's going on? I do have it in the works, but I haven't really confirmed anything. I understand there's about 10 pump houses, little building pump houses for our sewer system. Okay. And in those pump houses, I guess, is our generators, backup generators, should these pumps fail. Because if they fail, uh, then if you have an overflow of the sewage, our sewage, it ends up in the river.
Yeah, and then you
And
get a fine and all that nonsense.
yeah, and all that other crap. So it's something I'm working on to confirm whether these generators are actually up and running and working, or whatever. But
Timmy,
I'm
I have
being
a
told,
feeling somebody pulled your plug. You keep going in and out. I don't know. How come we can't have one podcast where either you or I don't have some kind of technical difficulties?
well, you on your end, I see you freezing. We can do a podcast from Florida to here, no problem. But we're 3 miles apart.
Did Sean
And right,
freeze? Did I
yeah, you,
freeze anybody?
yeah, yes, you did. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Sean,
of
you're
course.
frozen now.
I'm not frozen. I can see myself moving right
You're
now.
right. And I could see myself moving, but I see you frozen.
I think it's your end. I think it's you. I want to jump.
Okay, sure. Yep.
I thought this was interesting. Pete Frangi, who is the head of the IDA, right?
Yep.
He there was a video about cities under siege, and he writes this long thing about and I got to be honest with you, he is he is let me ask Todd something. So he writes this long Facebook post basically saying, the city of Cohoes is in bad shape. They have weak leadership, and we should all be concerned because soon this could be our city, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
You're
and
talking about Albany.
yeah, I didn't even watch the video. I just
Right.
read his
Yeah.
post because I was kind of shocked
Mm,
that he would be criticizing the mayor, in essence. Um, because the reality is the IDA ain't done shit.
right. They've done nothing since
The
in
IDA
the
has
last 5
done
years.
no, they've done nothing. In fact,
Nothing.
since I left, there's been no development in the city.
Well, and they've got more money handed to them than anybody, and there's still
Absolutely.
nothing done.
So why Pete's on here, basically saying that this could be our city. They and it's fair. He's got fair criticism because
Yeah.
the mayor of our city is the worst mayor probably in the country, other than that one lady who's out there spending $50,000 on perfume. Why ain't she in prison? I don't know. Um, but he's right. The mayor's a train wreck, but
Hmm.
so isn't the IDA really.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I don't like them people, but what have they done? They got $10 million. Nothing's happened. They have opportunities to build on the fire site. While everything's closing up around them, they're going to wait for a better opportunity. There's
Yeah.
no better opportunity coming. You got a project down the island, whether you agree or disagree. I agree it should go. It's a $25 million project, I think. The city's, is the city even doing anything with that project? I think they had a meeting last night, and I think it was like 5 people for it, 5 people against it. It doesn't matter. This city is so broke. It is in such trouble in so many ways that development is the only way to get out of it. And they haven't developed nothing. Absolutely
Right.
nothing.
Nothing. Now they got this big Saratoga Street project, but that's only like along the lines of beautification. It doesn't do anything.
Well, right now,
Replacing
go
the
down-
roads, telephones, and sidewalks. What's that going to do?
if you go down to Ransom Street right
Mhm.
now, businesses are folding up.
Yep.
It's dead as dead. There's nothing down there. And it all started with Keeler. I
It's
mean,
true.
the first thing they did is changed everything at the music hall. I love Owen. I think he's doing a good job, but there was a team that was there that was doing fantastic.
They got
and
rid of
that's-
Holly Brown, right?
Right, and that was a team that I don't think anybody could have beat, Holly and Owen.
Yep.
You had cops present on Ransom Street 24 hours a day, 7 days a
Yep.
week, so people would feel safe walking from the music hall. Nobody goes to the music hall downtown no more. If I'm
Right.
downtown having a beer and there's a play at the music hall, nobody is going down there for dinner. Nobody's
Right. I
getting
mean,
drinks.
and one of the first things he did over there is he uses police letterhead to send a letter to the state liquor authority to strip the license away from Spades Lounge, which was
That's
all
what I'm
looking
saying.
to open. So he was there to kill business right off the bat.
Well, he doesn't understand what's in the best
Yeah.
interest of the city. He's just an arrogant prick. And
Well,
so if
it's
he
there to
doesn't-
line his pocket, Sean.
Well, and if
look
he
what
doesn't
did with
like something-
DPW and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a train wreck. So why, Pete, I think you're right. The city's got a lot of problems. Maybe you're looking to run for mayor. So this is your opportunity to take a couple swings. And if that's your goal, I think you should take some swings because the guy's terrible. But I would tell you to be careful because the IDA hasn't done shit and the city's falling apart. I mean, I don't know, unless I'm missing something, you guys got some golden goose that nobody knows about, but if you do, you should promote it because right now, every developer that I talked to, the ones that came and
Mhm.
wanted to come when I was here, they told me they wouldn't even come back here for the 10 million.
Yeah.
So,
And that
and
that
they-
actually happened.
but
They
people-
couldn't. They put out the fire property for RFP bids. Nobody bid.
Yeah, and they're doing it again.
Yeah.
And they're paying an attorney. I guarantee you, they're paying an attorney tons of money. You ought to
Yeah.
audit that. Find out how much they paid the attorneys.
Hmm.
I guarantee it's a ton of money. So
Yeah.
they're doing another RFP for that when they have the Bonaquisti brothers offering them a pretty nice chunk of change to build there. They think they can do better. And I will tell you that, next year from Florida when we're doing this podcast and we're not getting frozen, maybe it's because it's cold here, you freeze. Maybe that's what it
No,
was. I was in Tampa.
We've had this problem since we started.
Yeah,
I don't
know.
get it because on my end you look frozen, on your end I look frozen. I don't know. I even changed my internet connection. Okay, where I'm connected while we were doing a podcast briefly, not, and it made no difference. I don't
Probably
know.
Jack Coonrod freezing me up here because
Yeah.
he says, "What's going on with Norlight?" Well, my understanding is the same as the city attacked Norlight because he didn't like the fact that they do some
Yep.
bombing down. What do they call it? Not bombing, but
Well, the
um,
dust.
they
well, the
do some
blasting.
they
Blasting.
blast, and I can feel it a little, and so can he.
Yeah.
Again, something that affects him personally, he shuts down a entire operation. I don't want to hear this bullshit that Norlight's poisonous, Norlight's dust, Norlight's this. Listen,
Yeah.
if you're down there, okay, you have Norlight, you had Mohawk Paper. He screwed both of them up. They're both leaving. The city is going to be on its knees soon, right?
Yeah. Well, you're going to
And-
see that water rating for the sewer increase because Mohawk Papers.
Well, be
not,
sewer and water
Yeah,
because they're
yeah.
going to stop using.
oh,
and
we
you
got
have
$8 million,
Simmons that-
but he's got to raise the rates.
And you have 787, which causes so much dust that it's
Mhm.
incredible. Highways cost a lot of dust. So you got 30,000 cars throwing dust up. So tell
Yeah.
me how this magically works. Tell me. How does the dust stop at the curb at Saratoga sites, but it doesn't go across the street?
Mhm.
It doesn't go to the left. It doesn't go to the right. We have to close down Saratoga sites. How
Yeah.
does that work?
Maybe it's a directional. Poof, straight out.
So we
Is
got to
that it?
close down Saratoga sites because, the
Yeah.
dust is going to kill people. Well, I lived there for many years, and people I know that lived there for a lifetime. Yeah, some are dead. Some are
Yeah.
dead that lived in nice, beautiful houses. Right?
Yeah.
Life is short, and you got a million reasons. But the fact is that you got the paper mill that's packing up, leaving. He
Yeah.
didn't do shit to try to save that. He put Norlight out of business. They're going to pack up and leave.
Hmm.
He lost the highest paying jobs in the city, gone. This guy's a train wreck. This guy
Yeah.
has destroyed every freaking thing you can imagine. People, are you watching this
Yeah.
show? Are you driving through the city? Do you realize that some of the only jobs that we have are moving out of Cohoes? Norlight's closing. For you who are Norlight haters and you want to clap and think that's a good thing, you're out of your mind. I worked down
Mhm.
there. I lived down there. I worked for Norlight.
Yep.
There's far worse shit going on, like far worse. Norton was a terrible polluter. They had asbestos all over the grounds up there, right?
Yeah.
Back
I
when
mean,
asbestos,
when the firefighters were training using that foam, right?
correct. That
Um,
foam, we sprayed more poisonous foam down
right.
down the sewers because it wasn't poisonous back then.
Right.
I
But
still
now it's
don't believe
poisonous. Right.
they say it is, right? But
Yeah.
again, it's all this nonsense.
Yeah.
We got a world full of tree huggers. I get it. I don't like
Yeah.
polluting the world either, but my God, you don't put businesses out. And then you got a piece of property. Now, we talked about this before, Timmy, and I still haven't done it, but I'm going to call somebody. I went online, I looked at commercial industrial properties. Okay.
Hmm.
2, 3, 4 acres are selling for $2 million.
Right.
I heard Cohoes sold ours for 125,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I heard housing had one, I'd love to know who this guy is, but they had one guy do an appraisal and he said it was worth $8,000.
yeah.
Why didn't I get a chance to buy Saratoga sites
Or
for
to even
8,000?
right. Well, I guess they have their preferred bidders like HUD or something like that.
I don't care if they're preferred bidders. There's a responsible,
First dibs. They had
no,
first
they have a
dibs.
responsibility to try to get the most money out of the property.
Mhm.
Just because they're responsible bidders or first responsible bidders doesn't mean you get a right to lowball it and sell it to your cousin.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
which
And
happened.
then the city decides that they're going to sell it for 125,000.
Yeah.
Did they go out for bid? Did they try to find some kind of industrial jobs that would come in with selling this? Is it
Mm.
worth $2 million and the city's just selling it because they're a bunch of morons? Is Steve Napier the guy that handled this? Is it the IDA? Does anybody in the city know what the fuck is going on in this city other
Mm.
than there's potholes? What is going on?
Hard
Does
to
anybody
say.
know?
It's such a mess. I'm even hearing from residents down there in the 6th ward down there, okay, that even 112th Street Bridge, okay, when we get all that snow, the snow gets shoveled on the Troy side by Troy. On the Cohoes side, they don't do the sidewalks.
Listen, the city of Cohoes has done it. Look, at first of all, let me just say, DPW workers, I love you. I think you're the
They're
cat's
great
ass.
guys, and no
You
problem
guys
with
are
them.
the cog that moves this city, and
Yep.
I don't care what anybody says, but they're directed by the leaders.
Hmm.
Okay, and Bridget, when we had a system, bridges, you have to clean the bridges so people ain't walking in the road get hit by a car.
Yeah.
Whatever we had a responsibility to clean, we would clean. Okay,
Yep.
and we made sure that it was done. Now, yeah, people are responsible for their property. That's the charter, that's the law. I used to send out a note. Please remember you're responsible for your property. If somebody gets hurt, you will be responsible, not the city. So if you can't shovel it, let us know and we would help. I would go out and shovel. I was out
Yeah.
shoveling in snowstorms. I'm the
You
mayor of the
haven't
city.
right. You haven't seen one snow emergency issued yet this year, have you?
Listen,
For
all
even odd parking or
I
anything like
haven't
that.
seen anything. I haven't seen
No.
sidewalks cleaned around City
Yeah.
Hall. I've seen ice all over the place.
Yeah.
I've seen downtown full of ice, roads full of ice. The city, not the workers,
Yeah.
the city has done a terrible job. I don't
Yeah.
care what they think. They should put Kenny Radcliffe back as the commissioner
Yeah.
because the
I
man
agree with that.
he may there may have been clashes and people didn't like him. Nobody likes their boss. I get it,
Yeah.
but the man knew what he was doing,
He's
and
a good guy. I like
and we
Kenny.
would put together plans that
Yeah.
worked. Where's Billy McCarthy? Where the hell's the lapdog? 50 years of working in DPW. He don't know
Yeah.
how to get this done as a council member? No, you
Yeah.
know why? Because he sat up in the office for 7 hours a day till it was overtime, and then he'd take the overtime and he'd go out and be tootle around, pretend he was doing some work. I
Yeah.
worked with him for 30 years. The guy didn't work and do shit, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. I don't know what's going on in the city of Cohoes, but I can't wait to get the hell out of here, to tell you the truth, Timmy. And I know there's a lot of people that feel the same way, but um, you know, it is what it is.
Well,
It is what it is.
I'm kind of like staked in here, so I
Well, you're
don't see
staked in.
myself at my age and with what's going on. If things were to change, yeah, I might. If I, look at if I didn't have a heart condition there, I can move somewhere else, such as like I would love to go to the Philippines, but it's beautiful over there. It's warm, beautiful, but
So,
you know,
so Jack Coonrod was just talking about Norlight again. Now, when I
Yeah.
was the mayor, Norlight came in and invested $25 million, and they put this first completely closed-in system. So
yeah,
there was, and I know because I was trying to get them to go through the IDA so that we could get the 1% loan of value from them, and would have pocketed $300,000 for the city. Um, I don't end up remembering how they end up doing it, but what they did is bought this German system, and it was amazing, and no dust came out of that system. It was all
hmm
so he's right. I mean, the city's attacking Norlight only because Keeler doesn't want to feel his house shake because he decided to build a mansion up on a piece of land
on
that
Western Avenue.
that you do feel a little bit of shaking. I've been
Well,
feeling it 15 years.
Well, you will, and then look at sound. I told you before, sound travels 4 times faster through rock.
It
So
doesn't break nothing. Yeah.
when they're blasting, you're going to hear it and feel it.
Yeah, it
quite
certainly
quite
hasn't caused me
feet
no
away.
problems. They would call up and say, "We're going to blast at 1." I
Yeah,
say to my daughter when she was
I would
little, the
love
house
to see his house tip over,
it'd go right down the hill that was graded by the
split it
DPW.
right in half.
Hey, listen, Cohoes has been in the hearts of many people for
Yeah,
many years. And it's hard to walk away from a place that you love, and it's the only place you
yeah,
know. It's
yeah,
where I was born. It's where I got in all my trouble. It's where I became the mayor. It's where I became the fireman. It's where I had
yeah,
the best days of my life. It's where my kids were born. It's
mhm,
hard to pick up and leave. But
yeah,
I got to be honest with you.
mhm,
It's time for me to
yeah,
pick up and leave because it is a
mhm,
disgrace. I wouldn't let my kids go downtown. I wouldn't let them walk around
yeah.
tonight at 10 o'clock at night and say, yeah, just go walk around, come back at 11. You know, I don't
Well,
care. You're 16, 17.
yeah,
I,
city's more violent now than it was 10 years ago.
but it's not only just, it's violent. It's dirty.
Yeah,
It's a shithole.
yeah,
Everything that was nice, he thinks because he put new windows in City Hall and a new roof because they gave him the money. He thinks because he bonded for streetlights and to cover his failure, some of it was used for some park equipment. That's great.
hmm
There's a couple
yeah,
nice parks. Well, guess what? Go to Colony. There's a lot of nice parks.
yeah,
And I'm going to tell you, I don't care what anybody says. Cohoes was on the swing, baby. We were in magazines. People were developing. People couldn't wait to come here. We were the fastest growing city in the state of New York 2 years in a row. You know what we are now? We're the city everybody's packing up and getting the hell out of.
getting out of Dodge. Yeah, yeah,
And I don't see it changing. I don't see it getting better. I don't see the next 3 years with this clown. I
yeah.
look at Timmy. Um, I live on West off of Western Avenue,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I would go down Jefferson every day and I'd have like a conniption because there's a cone in the road and there's
Mhm.
stones scattered all over the place because when they filled it, they didn't care. The stones are all
They
over.
overfill it or whatever, and they end up all over the road. Yeah.
And every day I'd see that quiff walking and walk right past that cone, right over the top of the stones. And I would think, this is the mayor of the city. I'd have been on my phone saying, get up there and clean that shit up.
Yeah.
And it was there for weeks and he walked by it every day. That's how incompetent he is.
He don't
That's
care.
how out of touch he is. You think he would care? He's got a $500,000 house next to his son's $500,000 house that the permit
Yeah.
said only cost 190 grand to build. He's got his
Right.
daughter's houses. They own the
Yeah.
whole. It's like the Ponderosa,
Yeah.
and
Well,
good
it's,
for them. I'm not this. Good for them. I'm glad that they have a good life. I'm glad that they have
yeah.
beautiful houses. All the more reason why this nitwit
Yeah.
should want to clean up the city, right?
Well, he doesn't really. He lives on the edge of the city.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
He lives right
But
no different than I live, Timmy.
right. But
He lives
it's
in
a
the
bubble
he,
area. But that's all right. I mean, he earned it. But for Christ's sakes, care about the rest of the city. He
well,
doesn't.
I would tell you that
And more so, he doesn't even care about the people.
no, he doesn't. Look at you drive down his street. It was clear as a bell. It was clean.
Yeah.
It was like a whistle, right down. No potholes because it's got a brand new pavement.
Mhm.
Cleaned right down to the pavement. No ice, no nothing. Right? He took
Yeah.
care of himself. All I'm saying is if you have beautiful homes for you and your family, it tells me that they're not going away anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want your city to be nice? Because
Especially
I'm
if
going to
you're
tell
the
you something.
mayor. Yeah.
Shit still
The
comes
way
from
everything
the
looks and
city
everything
up to the nice
reflects,
places.
right? It reflects on the mayor, though.
Look
The
at
appearance. And
there was a guy who's in jail now for murder. Right? There's a guy that is arrested and put in jail for murder who came up here and broke into my neighbor's house down the street.
hmm
He tried the doors all the way up and down the street. When you are looking to rob people or do bad things, you look for the people that have money, nice houses.
Yeah.
That's why more the reason for him to get rid of all the riffraff, clean up the city. He's done the opposite. You would think he was a state trooper. Now you know that he either did nothing his whole life as a state trooper,
Yeah.
as the leader of the state troopers. I heard he was just a pencil pusher. That's all they gave him as a job. He really didn't have anything else to do. He was like a logistics guy
Mhm.
because there's no way he could be in charge of all those people and then come here and not even know how to run a police department. And I'm
Well,
going to say something that will probably get me a ticket. We have a police department full of 20 and 21-year-old young kids,
hmm
right? There's
Yeah, they do.
nobody, there's really no seasoned people. So we have all these young kids. And
Yeah.
my question is, who's giving them the guidance? Who's making sure that they're safe and understand the job? We now have some women police. I think it's awesome. But who's making sure that they're taken care of? And I'm not
Mhm.
talking babysitting. I'm talking about making
Yeah.
sure that the city's providing all of the tools necessary so that our police department can operate without being in the middle of the freaking hood.
Well,
Because that's what we've become.
which ones are going to be riding his Harley that he had to buy for the police
Well, it
department?
won't be his son.
Right. I
When
think
he's
what I
got
got
his
to
son
do
on
is
there, falls and breaks his leg. That Harley,
I got to put in a foil, find out how many miles is on that thing for 5
Probably-
years.
there's probably a couple. What they do have a few parades. They got rid of the golf cart I paid $12,000 for.
Yeah,
that two
yeah.
cops drove up and down Ransom Street every
Right.
day. People loved it. Seniors would call me. People that would come to the city, I'd get emails. Came to your city, went to
Yeah.
the music hall, and wasn't afraid to walk down the street because there was a cops
Yeah.
going up and down in a golf cart, and I'd go have dinner and walk to. It was beautiful.
Yeah, you got
No
a
more.
Harley that's in storage probably 9 months out of the year.
Jimmy
And-
Young would come back, but there's no
Yeah.
chicks to chase around no more.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You lose your job.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, everybody, it's good to see you. Thanks for listening to my rant. Thanks for letting Timmy freeze up a couple times and then prove me wrong and show that I froze up too. I know
One thing, and one thing I wanted to wrap up, Sean,
Yeah, go ahead.
on my end. I wanted to thank the fire department and all the firefighters who came as pole bearers for John Dingley who passed away, and he had his funeral and he was buried today. And they led the procession with a fire truck in the beginning and a fire truck on the end. And these men, they carried that casket through 8 inches of snow, trudging through that snow to get it over to its final resting space. So to the firefighters and fire department, thank you very much. It's something that you don't get seen doing day by day, but it was a hell of a tribute by you people.
Well, hey,
Thank-
look at those firefighters
Yep.
are, you know, I don't personally like every one of them, but I love the
No.
fact that they're firefighters and they give everything
Yeah.
they got to the city, and a lot of times they get mistreated, mostly by politicians.
Mhm.
Keeler has been the worst. I mean, he wants to knock him down to 5. He wanted him to work for straight time. You know,
Yeah.
he's looking to close the firehouse that he promised he'd keep.
Yeah.
Timmy, I just got to say this, and I don't give a shit. I'm just going to say it like I always have. I once had faith in the city council. I have zero faith in them. They have been complete failures all the way around. You know what? They are not given the power in a a strong mayor form of government
Yeah.
that they would get in a different type of government.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that they don't have a voice
You know,
where you can stand at the
right.
holy pulpit and scream about. I had faith in Sean Higgins. I know I like Sean. I
Yep.
thought he'd be more vocal about stuff. I don't hear him saying anything. Adam Biggs,
You know-
I think he's every parent wants their kid to grow up and be just like Adam, unless he's a city council member, because he's done absolutely nothing. He's afraid to do anything. He hasn't proven to do anything. He's got what's he talk out of the cat box? Because
Well,
I don't even hear his voice.
Yeah, right. Well, I want to wrap with this one thought, Sean, which it bothers me, but it doesn't bother me. But it really boils down to leadership. Okay, we've mentioned many times on this podcast, where the hell is the Musicians Wall of Fame that belongs at Canal Square? And how hard is it for any council member to sit down and say, we want that back, we need that back, put a resolution before themselves, vote for it? You can't get these guys to do something that simple. And
That's
their
what I mean.
attitude is, we've got more important things to do, or that's not, that's
Well, what-
the attitude, Sean.
What
But
have they done?
And then the other thing that troubles me is that again, it really boils down to all the signage around the city. You've got one sign saying this thing, another sign, and these are these welcoming signs, and they all say something different with the wrong
They
dates.
say the
And
birthday.
where is the leadership to fix that?
Timmy, there is a council member's job is to advocate for the importance of their ward.
Yeah,
So if I was the council member that oversaw Canal Square, I'd be screaming to this mayor and I would say to him, I'd go in his office and shut the door and say, what the fuck is wrong with you? You've let them destroy a $3.5 million park, one of the
Yeah.
pride and joys that we just got 3 years ago to replace a pigsty that we had. You let it turn into a pigsty. If you don't get it fixed, I'm going to fight you tooth and freaking nail. Nobody says
Right.
a word.
Well,
Where's
you know
the
what? Right.
Where's the Walk of Fame? I want it back up. I'll never vote for you. I'll never support you. I
Yeah.
won't vote. I wouldn't give him nothing until he started
Right.
working with them. But
Look
they're
at
cowards.
the Erie Canal Monument right there in Olmsted Street, right?
I know.
There's a hole in the bottom of it, or pumps, or whatever was underneath it. It's full of garbage. I've been telling them about it for 2 years now. They can't get anybody in there to clean it up. Anyway,
don't-
that's the end of my rant.
Hey, listen, it was a great rant. The city of Cohoes is falling apart. What can we do to fix it? That will be the next podcast. Talk about things that we can do, that we think you can do to fix it. Hit on some topics that are important about the country, maybe the state of New York. If you got any topics you want to talk about, let us know. Hey, Timmy, I'm out of here. I'm going
Have
to
a good
Miami.
night.
I'll see you later.
Now you can go freeze on me all you want.